ghosts and giggles. Read along with me. Turn the page when you hear this sound. A Saint Bernard with a sousaphone danced surely down the street, bopping, hopping, ears a-flopping, to an easy dog-time beat. The people on the sidewalk stared at this unlikely vision, then got in line behind that dog and boogied right on with him. A sassy old crow was causing a scene. He was snapping and flapping and acting quite mean. He was tearing the straw from a poor scarecrow's head and spitting it onto the ground instead. A squirrel shook her head in sympathy at the scarecrow's obvious difficulty. "Just what are you doing?" she timidly asked, and the crow took a pause from his terrible task. "I've just finally had it. It's too much to bear. What, may I ask, could this silly thing scare? Why, not me, of course. Anybody should know. So why must it always be called a scarecrow? It's simply too awful. I'm embarrassed, you see, that people would think that this thing could scare me. So I'm smashing it down this very morn. No scarecrow can stop me from stealing the corn." Cocker spaniels and calico cats, coffee cups and gentlemen's hats. Oh, what colorful things we see when the wind is blowing wild and free. A gallon of guppies got sick when a bad baby gave them a kick. The syrup poured out of the jar, but it sure didn't get very far. A bird with a fork, a clever old stork, grabbed my pancakes and flew out the door. A giggling gnome and a green grinning ghost decided to take their pet frogs to the coast. They flew through the night on the tail of a kite, a windy, rough flight. But what a grand sight! Nothing to it, they later would boast. Huntley had a habit his mother couldn't bear. Every time he hiccuped, he hopped high in the air. It happened almost everywhere, but once, while at the zoo, his mother tried to hold him down. Instead, she hopped up too.
A mischievous chief threw a pie at a friend. Now that was a very sweet message to send.
Late last night, I heard the sound of a flying saucer coming down. I jumped out a window and slid down a tree. There were 4 frowning creatures just staring at me. They left in a jiffy, but one of them said, "It's late, little earthling. Get back in your bed." A boy dropped a coin as he walked out the door. A cow chewed it up. Now she's worth a lot more. Yesterday I bought an otter. Today I caught him in the water of my neighbor's swimming pool. "That's against the law," my neighbor said, and he hit my otter on the head. A python and a pygmy were flying through the air. A phantom with pneumonia sneezed and gave me quite a scare. A singing pterodactyl was rejoicing with a psalm. A most strange sight, but through it all I managed to stay calm. Two rabbits rode a ferry steered by a bear when they took their carrots to the fair. Now this trip did vary, very greatly. I haven't seen another like it lately. When the people laughed and the people jeered, the xylophone player thought, "What's so weird? My glasses are sitting right here on my nose. I've got my shoes on. Oh no, where are my clothes?" It was true. He was naked, not wearing a thread. He anxiously wished he were back home in bed. But he ducked off the stage, going where I don't know, and later returned in his black tuxedo. It's a fact. Crickets often have picnics on cold, cloudy nights at Green Acres Park when they switch off the lights. They eat cricket-sized lunches from cricket-sized boxes and sing cricket songs to an audience of foxes. It's a fact. whose ghost is seen both high and low in the mystery house by the broken window. Would you prefer an ape or a cat? Could you make a decision like that? Would you let the ape leap on your bed? And what if the cat hopped over your head? What if the ape put his toe in your tub and they turned your house into an animal club? It sounds confusing. That's the least I can say. But I bet you'd ask them both to stay. The cattle in the theater caused quite a fuss. For 3 nights, they were fighting for the row in front of us.
Hey, down in front.
12 creatures, to be exact, took 20 seats, and that's a fact. This type of thing is typical in our city, but 12 cows on 20 people isn't very pretty. You silly knight, I'd think by now you'd know you really must put a napkin on your knee, the cranky damsel fussed. For if you tip your plate at all, we'll have a mess, I trust. You'll spill your snacks of sauerkraut, and then you'll surely rust. Oh dear, cried the owl in his own oak tree. Who will come up and rescue me? This wind is so blowy, so cold and so snowy. I'm awfully scared, the ground's so far below me. The wren tried to reach him, but she was too small. Then the newt scampered up till he started to fall. As the news traveled quickly through forest and town, a giraffe stretched his neck so the owl could slide down. A baby brontosaurus held its head high to catch a blue bubble floating by. It bounced on his nose and danced on his toes, then sailed away up in the sky. A pink nylon bunny sits in my room, as quiet and still as can be. No hopping or jumping or bouncing kerboom until she's alone with me. Then we're off on adventures, my bunny and I. We travel both near and quite far. We hunt magic dragons all over the sky and eat cinnamon buns on a star. An old elf and a calf took an elk for a walk. They sat under an elm and they started to talk. A kiln burning brightly was smoking nearby, where some other elves sat, watching colored sparks fly. The coals felt much hotter. The elves couldn't stay. "Help!" cried the elf, and the elk ran away. A missionary had a curious notion to shampoo his hair in the ocean, but he was specially chagrined when he dipped his foot in to find the water was most surely frozen. "My dogfish of the sea just can't be found. Perhaps he's at the local fish pound." At the edge of a shady forest, in the middle of the night, a dwarf dropped magic flower seeds and made the darkness bright. The azure butterfly seemed a mirage as it sparkled and glittered above the garage. A creature so fragile, a vision so rare, a magical moment dissolving in air. Nearly everyone is aware that a civilized cyclops will always wear a single eyeglass, never a pair. For a cyclops, I have heard it said, has only one eye in the center of its head. There's a mysterious column in my hometown. Whoever goes up seems to never come down. Once Tommy McGee climbed up as we cheered. We saw him jump off. Then he disappeared. I wonder what it's like on Mars, miles away among the stars. Are there farms and parks and busy crowds, chirping birds and swirling clouds, surging surf and morning rains, sidewalk curbs and circus trains? Are there rhinos in their zoos? Do Martians watch the 6 o'clock news? The starry sky seems far away, but I'd like to try and visit someday